let's talk about, he mentioned the word Zionism. I don't have that word anywhere in the code book. But if it were in there, just like any word that appears anywhere, for any reason, first thing you want to know is what is it? And the only person you want to ask, say, for example, since this is on the board now, the only person, if I was going to find out what Zionism is, I would first ask the question, what is Zionism? And then, if they told me that Zionism was something that's an ideology, maybe, I guess, that is perpetuated by a Zionist or a person who is called a supporter of Zionism, the only person, and this is a part of the code, the only person you want to talk to from that point on, because this is a word that you probably don't know exactly what it means. Many people probably don't. They probably haven't had experience with it. They probably haven't talked to a person who is a quote-unquote Zionist. So the first order of business is to talk to a Zionist. The word came from somewhere. So you talk to a person that knows all about that word. And you don't talk to anybody else before you talk to that person. You step forward and say, does anybody who is a Zionist and can tell me all about Zionism, what it is, what it isn't, and what it's supposed to do, before we have a discussion? That is what you call following the logic. That's why I keep emphasizing, follow the logic. When a new word, or a word that you're not too much familiar with, and I have heard that word many times, but I have never talked to a person who said that he or she was a Zionist. And I don't deal with the word until I talk to that person. Because whatever I say about that person or concerning that person or that person's ideology, I want to get it straight from the person. Because I want to be able to quote that person, so that I will not be accused of saying things that don't apply. And we should not only be that way about that particular word, but about any word that comes up. Go to the word user and ask that person a battery of questions so that you walk away with the bottom line answers. Not answers that you get from other people who are commenting on what they think, but answers that come straight from the person, him or herself. Now, it could be said that the person may not tell the truth. Well, then you will know that, because you will still be able to say, this is what the person said. Now, if what the person said didn't collate with what the person said later, or what the person did later, then you will know that because you dealt directly with the person, him or herself. It's the same as if a person says, well, I'm a plumber, and you never heard the word plumber before. So you ask the logical question, what is a plumber? And the person might say, a plumber is a person that fixes water pipes, etc., 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 and then gives a demonstration. That's what you want. You want a demonstration of what the person is talking about. You not only want the person to talk, you want a demonstration of what the person is talking about, so you have a clear understanding. There's nothing in the world like understanding, because misunderstanding is deadly.
Okay. We have more emails that have come in. The next email from Haru Amenhotep. He writes, I want to sincerely thank Mr. Fuller for his work and the United Compensatory Code book. And he writes further, what can be done about the epidemic of anti-sexual behavior within our black group?
You speak against it and don't participate in it. Anti-sexual behavior is what you call so-called homosexual behavior or lesbianism. Now, many black people qualify for those titles, all right? But right now, the white supremacists have made that a part of their strategy, their worldwide strategy. They are trying to make, and I want everybody to understand this, they are trying to get black people all non-white people involved in almost unlimited acts of so-called lesbianism and homosexual acts, and calling it progress, when what the effect is going to be, and the effect is already, confusion. Sex is male and female. That's what it is. It's impossible for a male to have sexual intercourse with a male. It's totally impossible. It cannot be done. Now, two males can get together and do something, but you can do something with a fire plug.
Or a goat.
You can do something with a goat. You can do something with a sign on a wall. You can do something with a lamp. If you just want to do something, if you want to rub your nose up against a wall, I mean, you're rubbing your nose up against a wall. You can't call it sex.
Would it be better if perhaps we're called just mutual masturbation?
Or you can give it any type of name. This is why it's usually called gay. Because it really doesn't describe anything.
Well, and
the term gay used to mean happy.
Well, and that was the very point I was just about to make. These people, towards their own political ends, because it's not a new behavior, towards their own political ends, have usurped the very language, the common lexicon used by people in this country. I often tell people the reason I use the word queer is because, one, the word gay used to mean happy, and after Marvin put out all that good soul music, I wasn't giving that name to anybody else unless they made some good soul music. And the word homo, meaning self-sexual, meaning an act of reproduction between two opposite gender of the same species, they could therefore never be homosexuals. The word queer, used by our grandparents, seems to be about the most accurate term for describing these people who engage in this behavior.
Yes. And not only that, according to the logic, counter-racist logic, I am not really condemning those acts. I am merely observing what I have said. I have been told that they are, and seen pictures of what is supposed to constitute such operations. And I ask myself, is this an improvement over what we call sexual acts? And if so, why is it an improvement? Why is it supposed to be a part of what people should be interested in and trying to promote? And why is it that black people should be doing it as a form of progress? And what is the result of this so-called progress? And since it hasn't been put to a universal test, I would say over a 100-year period where it is, everybody's just supposed to go for it, it would be best to let the white supremacists, who I believe are behind this movement, to spread it among the non-white people of the world. I believe that they should put it to a test. A full test themselves among themselves, and demonstrate for the next 100 years what the result will be, so that we'll know where we're going with all of this.